Jeff, and this artist is Cats Will Eat You. And we're going to begin. Matt, usually what we do is just, if you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got into art, just some more general background information as we start to get into the more really difficult questions, like, what you're going to eat for dinner tonight, or, how you make your artworks.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'll go ahead and jump right in then. So yeah, I'm Cats Will Eat You, Matt Semke. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I grew up in the Midwest, in Wisconsin, moved to Minnesota as an adult and lived here my whole life. For the past 14 years, on my website, catswilleatyou.com, I've published a piece of art every single day. I haven't missed a day. I think I've got the longest streak of anybody I know. I'm about 6 months ahead of Beeple on that task. I found that I make work prolifically just because that helps me kind of stay in that sort of imaginative mindset where I'm not as concerned about the end product. I definitely try to create a masterpiece every day, but I feel like if I keep moving and switching around different mediums, it helps me kind of get absorbed into the process of creating, and that's when I find sort of the magic happening. I started college as a computer science major, and computer science was happening in the same building as art, and it was really rough on me to like watch the art kids walk by and have fun. And so, one day I got a B on a computer science test, so I just stood up and walked out and went into the art department instead, and kind of started my journey as taking art seriously for the first time. I always loved it as a kid, but my parents were like very discouraging on the art. They were just like, "Oh, how are you gonna get paid for that?" So
NFTs, Mom.
Yeah. It's funny to talk to them now about that. So it's been it's a lifelong passion of mine. Absolutely.
Matt, I gotta ask, because I'm sure it's gonna come up. So Cats Will Eat You is quite the name for an artist. I need to know the story about that.
Yeah, sure. So back in a graphic design class, we had it's hopefully this is sort of interesting. We had a teacher that everyone despised in graphics class, and he was telling us about watching Animal Planet and reading a story or hearing a story about a cat eating its owner after the owner died in the apartment. And this teacher just happened to live alone with his cats, and so I just like lit up in that moment. I was like, I couldn't stop laughing, and then I went out and bought the URL that day and started just using that kind of as my online moniker that day. I saw a lot of like irony in that, like your best friends, like as soon as you're gone, just kind of turning on you, or even just like using you for what you're still worth. I just thought that was kind of funny, and it's something that sticks with people just enough to hopefully remember the name and come back.
That's awesome. And I know that you prepared a miniature presentation that Jen has up right now. So I'll pass the mic, so to speak, hypothetically, to Jen. And, would you please take us through that? And then I see you also have another piece I got from you on the main page of Roller Guy or Roller Man, which I fell in love when I saw. That's just super cool. So I definitely want to hear about that too. But please, if you wouldn't mind, navigate Jen through the presentation, and we'll all watch.
Sure. Yeah, so there's this art roller derby guy that's going right now. That's just one of my more recent favorite pieces, and that's like a self-portrait for me. It's you know, just this guy who's kind of endlessly painting their work out there. This sort of bald character with the third eye in his head is been like a reoccurring character that appears in a lot of my work over the past, I would say, 7-8 years. He showed up. Jen, if I won't bore you guys with a lot of videos, but I did think it would be cool to just watch this March recap because it's on the right there, because it's like a good example of where my work's at right now, and kind of because I do bounce around with a lot of different mediums.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that the sound will come through, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's some pretty awesome sound there.
Oh, it's not. That's fine though. We can. So, yeah, these are just like this is like my daily output, shown at like one a second, and this was stuff that I made in March. I do this, so at the end of every month, I like to make a little recap video. It just helps me kind of keep all my art organized, just my files, and then it's like good to look back and make sure I'm still pushing myself.
Yeah, so you started doing the a piece of art every day, like, what was it, December 18th, 2006, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
So I calculated that means that it's been 5,245 pieces that you have created since you decided to do a piece of art every day.
Wow.
And
right.
I mean, that's insane.
So if you were to watch the whole, you know, the whole collection of work at the pace that we just watched March happen, it's a feature film right now. It's, it's an hour and a half.
That's insane.
I would
ask, what made you decide to start doing it on December 18th, 2006?
You know, I sort of started doing that a year before that, but I didn't have like a WordPress site built. Like, it was all done in HTML, so I was just kind of doing it at that pace. You know, just trying. I wanted to create a website that people wanted to come back to, because I found myself, you know, at that time, websites didn't update every day for the most part. Like, you know, and there was a webcomic site called Toothpaste for Dinner. It was just these dumb little line drawing webcomics, but I found myself going back every day because they had a new one. And right away I was like, I got to figure out how to start doing this on my own. And I should clarify that I don't create each piece you see in a day. Some of them are spanned over a few days. I kind of bounce around. I don't really have a plan. I would say 90% of them are done the same day, but like a lot of them, you know, take a little more time than that too. So it's just kind of my output pace ends up being one day.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely, it's epic. I mean, one of the things that you've touched on already, and I'm sure as we go through the presentation, you'll touch on this, but you know, the difference in all of the, you know, all of the different media that you work within, you know, and look at, I mean, for anyone who hasn't been onto the website, honestly, go and have a look. And like, there are some great kind of commuter sketchbooks and things where you're obviously drawing inspiration from all around you.
Yeah. I try to, like you said, that was stuff I was drawing like on the way to and from work a lot of times. You know, I've got 2 kids now, so pretty much a lot of this happens after like 10, 11 p.m. or on my way to and from work. You know.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Hey, Matt, I got a question for you real quick.
Go ahead.
You know, I know you have pictures of these and you do it. You ever thought about releasing, you know, a special one where it's like just a video of every one that you've done during the year or a particular year? I guess that would be about 6-minute video, I would assume.
Yeah, you know, I did one at the end of 2020. I haven't thought about, you know, releasing it as, you know, as an NFT or anything yet. I just don't like, I think it's cool to watch it back that way, but like I don't know how, if that's the best way to ingest my art, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I was just curious if you ever thought about it, because I love how, you and people are pretty much the only ones I know that have done something like that over years, where you've been doing something, every day. But sorry, I didn't want to get off track with the presentation. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and you know, maybe that's a good idea for like a giveaway style NFT, you know, just like,
I bet you get a ton of engagement doing something like that, because that's pretty damn cool. I know I'd probably enter. I probably wouldn't win, but I'd still enter.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so let's jump back into your presentation. So we're on the second page at the moment with your recent work. Do you want to talk us through these?
Yeah, so this is kind of my, I mean, throughout all the mediums I work with, you'll see a lot of this sort of style pop up. It's like back in college when I was doing oil paintings, they all sort of had this kind of, you know, abstract, almost cubist, but very, very colorful, psychedelic kind of approach. And with these, I kind of tackle the blank canvas with like no thought in mind of what I want to make, and then I just wait until stuff sort of starts to emerge. And it's honestly, it's like my favorite way to approach art, is with try to eliminate any sort of expectation going in, and then let it happen to me. It's almost, it feels like a little bit like I'm channeling something like from my subconscious a lot of times, even. And then after the fact, I try to, you know, sometimes I get like titles thrown at me, like they just like, it comes to me like a voice in my head, and then I try to stick with that. And yeah, a lot of times I feel like I don't like to apply too much meaning to them, or, you know, when I'm sharing them with other people, I like to hear what other people get out of them, not necessarily as a cop out, but I think that's how they're intended to be. They're intended to be viewed more like a tarot card. Like what you see in there is probably part of what's, you know, in the deepness of what comes out of when you approach creativity that way.
Yeah. Have you ever been like taken back by how someone interprets your art, or, you know, do you just find it like super interesting? Because like you say, it's like looking into their mind, isn't it? Because art's so subjective that you know, everyone will see something different in it, won't they?
Yeah, and I have like a group of people that frequently write to me, you know, telling me like, you know, asking me like, are you psychic? Like, how are you this dead on with what's going on in my life right now? Which is, to me, and that's kind of my experience with these two, is like, I'll go to sleep like thinking like, what did I just make? And then the next day there'll almost be some sort of synchronicity that occurs to me where I'm like, oh, now my art makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
And so selfishly, I love hearing that from people when they really connect and resonate with me, because to me that makes me feel like I'm, you know, on the right path with this work.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just shows like how much kind of insight, and I suppose because of like the commuting and, you know, also just being a parent, you know, you get so much kind of insight to the world around you that you can then just absorb that, and then, you know, the fact that you can then sort of create that and get people talking through art is awesome.
Yeah. We can move along here,
Yeah.
I think, to the next one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of another realm of my work is more of a minimalist, I would say, 3D animation. here again, you see like my reoccurring character, this avatar with his third eye open.
Wow.
Yeah, and all self-taught in 3D. I basically like I learned it so I could get bumped up at my day job where I make animations and videos for a baseball team.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. What if you want to tell the community, what programs do you use to make this stuff?
I use Cinema 4D for the 3D stuff. The abstracts we were just looking at is all done in Procreate on a 10-year-old iPad.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to replacing that soon here. But
I wish that you guys could hear the audio on this, but it's a dial-up modem, and it really adds like that other dimension onto the piece.
yeah, Discord isn't so friendly with it's for screen sharing and stuff. It's not so friendly with audio.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think only a couple of these have sound.
Do you have a preference between like 3D animation or 2D?
No, I don't. It's really like it's very spur of the moment for me. Like I haven't started my update for today, and I probably won't start till 10 or 11 p.m. And I'll usually bounce between 2 or 3 different things before I sit and do the work. It's kind of unfortunate. Like, it's that whole, like, you got a blank sheet of paper, you write something, you crumple it up, you throw it away. I do that a few times every day. And then I find like, oh, today is definitely, a 3D day, or I got to do an abstract. There's definitely been times where you got like 2 sick kids or something, and if I didn't have anything, ready to go, then I'm definitely going to go with like an illustration or something a little simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can move along.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah, so this is more 3D work, but this stuff's I try to just
cool.
render it out a little bit more minimally, even like just using cartoon shaders.
I love that one. That's these are just epic, and just as a FYI, I've not actually looked through this presentation yet, so I'm seeing it all like for the first time, and yeah, I mean your work is really incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, most of my stuff is all I'm fascinated by meditation, astral plane, manifestation, the moon, nature, aliens, angels, lucid dreams, that sort of concept. Very like internal thought, sort of, as my subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
We can move on. Okay, so yeah, these are all phenakistoscopes. So these are, it's just one frame that's drawn, and then it's rotated 30 or 15 degrees, and a photo's taken. So they end up being like a 12 frames for a second playback. Really old-fashioned animation technique. I actually make these in Cinema 4D and 3D, and then I have a template that I built in After Effects to kind of put the 12 frame animation into a single circle like this.
These are awesome.
And then I plot it out, and then I hand draw it.
Okay.
And then on this last one over on the right is it like I'll frame them up for people and then create like an augmented reality thing that they can.
That is so cool. Did I see on your website that you've done one with bees? Or am I making that one up?
Oh yeah. No, I just did one maybe yesterday with bees.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, no, I spied that and I was just like, that's super cool.
That one sold right before I could even put it in my store. So that was
No
nice.
way. Wow, that's
Instantly.
awesome. Gotta save the bees.
So and this is something I really get into heavy in October, because I like to switch to ink just for that month, for the Inktober month. And then, but you know, I'm so digitally focused that I still have to kind of start on a computer, even if it ends up going to ink at the end. But it's always a really challenging month for me. But these phenakistoscopes were a real breakthrough for me. I really think they're cool.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Okay, we can keep on moving.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Then this is kind of a sort of a recent direction for me, is these avatars. I've been trying to take my my sort of gestural abstract drawings and then apply them to the, you know, do that drawing right on the surface of 3D objects and 3D people.
I love these.
Hey man, it's, you know, while you're talking about this, there's a good question that came in from Domino. What are the image markers that trigger the AR?
Most of the time it's done with I work with the app called Artivive, and it's the actual image. And I don't know how their software works. It picks like 8 or 10 points at random on the image that you upload, and then it'll just overlay any video that you want on it. So it recognizes the image.
I have to say, I kind of feel like I want to be her. I want to be her. I just want to be outside dancing like that.
Yeah, I want to be her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, avatars for me were kind of like, especially like in this last year is kind of where I've developed this concept. It's been like, as we're, you know, we're all developing like online personas, and it's in a way it's freeing to be a little bit more anonymous. And I thought, I'd been thinking about a lot, like, what would I want, like if I could just put on any avatar, what would it be? And even though like I totally identify as like a straight white male, I would love to be one of these people.
Yeah.
Like if given the chance. So it's I think there's a lot of people are kind of waking up to that, like, fluidity of their own spirit and stuff, now that we're kind of, you know, given the freedom to be around ourselves all the time, and then, you know, not necessarily putting on the avatar for everybody else is kind of what these are about for me.
Yeah, I love how you've got like the, you know, the sort of light reflection as, you know, the avatar's moving there. That just, you know, it kind of, you know that that person is swimming like through the air, but just sort of having that extra element just makes it even more, I don't know, just like even more real. I mean, yeah, I want to be one of these.
Yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like I want to make another one tonight. That might be the go.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move along.
We'll move on. Okay.
It is quite mesmerizing though, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So illustration, and this is kind of where this is probably the medium where I work the fastest. It's kind of like more cartoony kind of illustration, but honestly, these are the ones that people usually end up kind of connecting the most with, or getting the most synchronistic sort of meaning from usually. I guess these are, more literal and concrete than the abstract work, so that might be the reason that happens. These are all done with Procreate too.
What sort of inspiration? Because I mean, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but there's almost like a bit of a vintage vibe about these. I mean, you're absolutely right in terms of like the comic style, but just in the style and I suppose the colors and things that you've used. Is there an inspiration that you draw on for your illustration?
Again, like if you see me, like if I were to play back one of these being made, you would see I basically scribble until I start to see something.
Yeah.
And then that helps me like define what I'm going to make.
That's awesome. That is really awesome.
But I guess like my color palette kind of just evolves over time. Like I'm looking at this thinking like this looks like a color palette I used, about 10 months ago, quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just sort of fall in love with it, don't you? You like how the colors kind of just elevate each other.
Absolutely. I love color. Like just love it.
Yeah, me too. I get called like the rainbow child because color is super expressive. It's an awesome way to just sort of express yourself, isn't it?
So this was I just wanted to show the first round. This stuff all sold already. So unfortunately, you people can't get any of this anymore.
But we do still have pieces that are on sale on the
yeah,
marketplace.
and I've got that in the next slide.
I just posted those in the chat for those who are wondering. I just put in Matt's Twitter link too if you wanted to give him a follow, have a chat with him too. These pieces were just so crazy.
Yeah. I do think one of these down in the right-hand corner just sold the other day, but the other 5 I think are still available. Again, it's kind of, these were all drawn with nothing in mind in the beginning, and just where I landed. And then in addition, like the title too, I try not to I just kind of wait until it comes. Sometimes I'll spend a half an hour on the title, which is embarrassing, but it happens.
You do the art quicker than the title. That's
sometimes.
Yeah.
Thing is, because there are so many different dimensions to what you end up with, that it could you could probably name each of these like 5 different things and it would still make sense and it would still resonate with the art that you've created. So yeah, I don't I don't blame you for taking time to kind of come up with the names for them, because yeah, that would be hard, because like I said, they've just got so much going on in them.
I have occasionally used a double title with just "or" in the middle, let's given it 2 titles because I couldn't pick, and just it makes a really long time. Like, it was funny, it was like a breakthrough for me. I was like, wow, what am I gonna name this? It's got to be this or this. And then I was like, wait, I get to choose. It can be both. Like, nobody could stop me from that. I don't need anyone's permission to give it 2 titles. So, and I'm sure with 5,000 some images too, I've definitely used the same title a few times on some of them.
Classy J wanted to ask you a question. How do you come up with the concepts for your art?
I really try to approach without a concept, but it tends, I definitely gravitate towards sort of manifestation, like the idea that imagination creates reality. I work with like concepts of like synchronicities a lot. You know, lucid dreams, astral projection is stuff that I really like. So it's all most of my stuff is from that sort of pool of ideas, kind of you know, more sort of spiritual or even psychedelic thought kind of things. Like I'm fascinated by like the scale of people, like what, like how big are we, like are we, you know, there's more than one way to look at a lot of these things. There's just like this big perspective. You know, we're simultaneously very small people, but we're also very big people. And I I guess I'm just kind of chasing that meaning down for like what, you know, that classic what are we question, you know, what am I question. And then in art has kind of become like my connection to getting closer to that answer. And so that's kind of where my concepts come from. I do keep like a little, you know, short list next to me typically when on the rare occasion I get an idea that sometimes I get a fully baked idea that I want to commit to and create. But those tend to be the things that are like the hardest for me to work on. And so sometimes I just kind of record ideas, you know, to go to when I can't draw inspiration just from a blank canvas. I hope that answered the question a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Jason totally answered it.
Great. We can go to the next one.
Mhm.
This is more work at Terra Virtua. I wanted to bring in some, you know, lower priced one of ones this time. And you know, I think these works are, you know, just as powerful as the abstract work. But I didn't, you know, I wanted to have something for everybody out there. And you know, to be honest, like sometimes these ones just come really quick, like they, you know, so I, you know, feel weird charging the same amount when it came out so effortlessly.
I love
But that second one, Almost New, went right away too. I think that one's gone already.
these are these
That collector actually reached out and wanted to get a physical, and so I helped him with the place to. He was in Belgium, so I couldn't do the same canvas print that we got for Jeff, but we did find a place to do a print
awesome.
in town for him, so it worked out really good.
That's super cool. So you've gone global.
Yeah.
Have you done many works sort of for people across the world, or was that your first?
No, yeah, I've done quite a few overseas now. I mean, recently, like I sold another like it was like a 3D animation, but I had made an augmented reality for it, and so that one went to the UK. I'm in a show next month in Portugal, Lisbon.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's like a big sort of NFT physical space and VR space and augmented pieces. And so I just sent a augmented piece there too. And then also I make short films once in a while, and so those get some international play too.
That's really cool. So are you
Yeah.
going to be there in person in Lisbon, or is it like you said, you're sending your work over and it will be featured?
Yeah, I'm sending my work over. I'm really like conservative about coronavirus too. I'm still like, I haven't really left my house in a year, and I'm waiting on my second dose now, and I'm, we still got like the kids at home during the day, so not really comfortable leaving my wife to deal with that. But hopefully, like, it sounds like this is the second iteration of that sort of physical VR experience. And so they'll hopefully continue to do it. It sounds like they're already going to start planning for the third one. So maybe by that time I'll be able to travel.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So what date's that on?
That one is, I think I got it in a later slide.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. We'll keep going then. And I'm just thinking, there are probably people in, this spotlight right now listening who would probably love to, sort of love to have a look at that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go.
Oh.
May 12th through 22nd.
It's like we prepared that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's and I'll be able to go on the metaverse side of things. I think they're gonna do a couple, like, I know they're gonna be in crypto voxels, and maybe that's the AR piece that I just sent over for that festival. And then another VR thing that we can all go to that's actually based out of Minneapolis is coming up the day after that, May 13th. I just kind of listed my short-term goals here to just let you all know how committed I am to making art all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely comes through just in like looking you up, but also talking to you and just hearing about what inspires you and everything. So I'm really intrigued. The introduction of AI. Can you talk to us about that at all? Or is that top secret?
It's a little top secret. It's just kind of like at the I know a lot of people are down on New Year's resolutions, but I've had really good luck with them for like 5 years in a row. And so I just, awesome. At the beginning of the year, I try to treat it like you'd set objectives at your professional job. You're going to get that shit done because your boss is expecting you to do it. And I just try to treat my my art career the same way. I set goals like a company would and try to make them. And AI is just something that I've always wanted to teach a computer how to draw like me, So I just started playing with that with Playform yet. I haven't released anything because it's all been, garbage so far. But that's kind of in my goals of short term here. Along with like this AR stuff's been really good for me. And I'm just trying to learn VR also. Like, creating a VR is just such a wild experience. It feels like something I've dreamed of my whole life, and now it's something I can experience anytime I want. It's crazy. I love it.
That is incredible.
And then so I've got a few art shows coming up, and then there's the whole full story on Cats Will Eat You then. So
do you want me to go back to the other events? Sorry.
No, that's fine. We can move along now. We're running out of time. This is kind of, so this horrible painting here, I would not it was a Genesis piece in that, like, it was probably one of my very, very first oil paintings. It's horrible and it's kind of stupid, but it's I still love it just for that kind of moment of looking back and where I started. And then just on the right, I just kind of listed all the art exhibitions in the last few years, or I guess last 15 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more than a few.
Yeah.
15 years. Guys, yeah, for those listening, I just put into the voice chat. If you do have any last minute questions for Matt, I know we're running very close to time here, but if you do, I know we asked a few during the presentation here, but if you had a few that you want to sneak in, type them now, please, as we start to wrap up. That way I can ask Matt live. Sorry, Matt.
Yep.
I usually make the announcement to give people, if they do have any other questions, to get them ready before we end here. But for those, I will share Matt's work again, or what's left of Matt's work anyway. This is his second batch of artworks. First batch has already been sold out. So definitely go check that out. And again, if you ever wanted to develop a relationship with Matt, I'm going to post his Twitter momentarily in here. Give him a follow, shoot him a DM. For those that might have a piece or want a piece, I bought a piece from him. I hit him up, and we worked out a deal, a wonderful deal where I got the NFT with the physical piece attached to it. So yeah, stay in touch with him. As you heard, he's been making art every single day, similar to People, which is a name I think a lot of us recognize in the space. So who knows where Matt will be in another month or a year from now? Who knows? So keep your eye on him. Question from Classy J. Seeing as how you are expanding into all kinds of new spaces, what do you see as the future of NFTs? Where else do you think the space can go?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
I personally have some needs in the NFT space. Like, I would love to be able to bundle like 6 or 7 files into one NFT. I see I guess some platforms might have solved it, but like being able to do collaborative work where both, or however many artists get added to the contract, essentially, for future royalties. I think there's so much that's going to happen with NFTs. I get pretty excited about it. And obviously, like, I want to be able to, especially like with my VR stuff, I want to be able to share that as an NFT. But right now, like, there's essentially a lot of what's the platforms are offering is you can do a still image or a video, or I've seen some 3D objects as NFTs, but obviously, like, I would love to give a whole VR experience as an NFT. Yeah, and it's really hard to predict what's going to happen here.
I agree. I mean, it's changed so much in the past year that I think it's impossible. I mean, there's definitely going to be growth, but I agree with you. You just have to take it a week or month at a time here, and
yeah,
I think everyone's just adjusting to where kind of the market is shape shifting its own self. But yeah, let me get into a couple more questions here. From Granum, do you sometimes enter a deep emotional state when making an art piece, or has it ever happened, or has it ever happened in the past? Perhaps you were drawing something that reminded you of a previous event, for instance.
Oh, absolutely. Part of my experience while creating is that a lot of times it becomes a deep spiritual journey, like inward, and I ended up, kind of seeing a new perspective on history, things that have happened to me, and it's probably my main driver, to be honest, is getting to the point where I have an experience like that, some sort of deep emotional connection with the work.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and I think as we all can see, it's definitely transferring over to your digital art as well. that's no brainer there. So, question from Red Club: what's your best piece of advice for someone wanting to become a digital artist? Yeah, I can't read today.
Oh, get an iPad. I mean, I think, you know, obviously you can create on desktops and stuff with 3D stuff, but I think the iPad is, you know, it might be the most worthless computer to like try to do work on or communicate with other people, but it's probably it's been like my go-to tool for digital art.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just I think, you know, like publicly showing your work to people, like just posting it online, really really helps. It helps you develop as an artist, and it helps, you know, give yourself a little motivation, a little bit reason, because it's so easy to like share this stuff with people, and that's half another large part of the reason why I do this stuff.
Yeah, that's a good answer, Matt.
Yeah.
Moving on with Domino. Looks like this will be our last question, guys. So if you were in, this is a good one. If you were in Beeple's position with the same extreme mainstream exposure, how would you handle it?
Oh gosh, that's a crazy question.
Pressure's on. You better answer right, because people are going to come back and reference this.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Like, I'm a fan of Beeple, you know, but you know, I wouldn't instantly cash out my ETH and say that NFTs are a bubble. You know, that seemed like a weird move to me, but you know, I think he is going to do a lot for the space. Now it seems like he's going to continue to be a part of it, which is awesome. If I think I mean, I have like large goals as an artist. You know, I have like concepts for TV series, animated TV series, like merchandise, that sort of thing. Like I think I would just kind of double down on the art that I could do in it with that sort of freedom. You know, right now I'm still tied up in a day job. You know, I get a lot done, but you know, I want to do more with it. And I think you know, it's from my perspective, you know, he's extremely talented digital artist, but it's odd to me to sink that much you know, sort of investment into one of many artists. So I don't know if I would want to be in that sort of limelight. I wouldn't mind half the money, but it, you know, the attention that he's gotten would be a little much to deal with, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, now every you know people dug up like old weird you know, racist, inappropriate stuff that he created, and
Yeah.
you know, that's like I don't really have any. I don't think I have any like skeletons in my closet like that, but you know, like honestly, like the first few years of my work, I wouldn't want to be minting that or like putting it out there. You know, so it's really hard to say what I would do in that position.
Well, I hope you get there, and then we can find out, right?
Yeah, then we'll find out. Yeah.
I think we all want to get there where we can cash out 70 million in ETH. I'd probably hang on to it, actually, but
he would have like, what did I read today? He'd have like 160 if he kept it in.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah, it went up. It went up. Like, I think it went up like 50%. He would have made like an extra $25 million if he kept it in. But I mean, you have to say to yourself, like, what happens if it goes the other way, right?
Yeah, so, yeah. And obviously we shouldn't expect anybody to just like keep their full net worth in crypto if that's You know,
Yeah.
unless that was his goal.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's been doing well, and I think the cool thing is, you know, he's been giving back to the community, and you know, if you get there one day, I think doing, you know, pieces for $1 would be awesome. You know, I think he's you're right, he's giving it back, and you know, people that have been winning those dollar drawings, you know, turning it into 100,000. He's changed over 30 people's lives, you know, in the past, probably more than that. And I think about it, because you know, some people that bought the initial Bitcoin bull or into the ether was, you know, $900. I mean, those who could afford it at the time, sold it for like 150. So yeah, it's life-changing money for a lot of people out there. And actually, I think pretty much for everybody, that would be life-changing money, you know, getting an extra $150,000, $200,000, which is crazy. But yeah. Anyway, let's go back, folks, on you. You know, obviously, you know, thank you for doing this. I know we were waiting to get you on. You know, I'm a big fan of your art, and I have multiple pieces by you. So if you are out there listening or reading in the voice chat, I just posted the links for Matt's work. What's left of it again on Terra Virtua. This is his second go around. His first go around sold out pretty quickly. So definitely take a peek at that. Give him a shout on Twitter. Just posted that in there as well. And I know Matt and I actually have a good relationship after just becoming friends via DM, just from meeting each other. So I know Matt, you know, as he continues to sell work, he is going to be uploading more and more pieces as this time goes on. I don't think we'll run out of quantity with one a day. That's just insane. But Matt, obviously, thanks for coming in and joining with us. Jen, Holly, super big shout out for Jen and Holly, who had worked and helped to set this up. And it's so late out there in the UK. So, and also to all the community members that came in and had an opportunity to listen to Matt and learn a little bit more about him and his work. Thank you for that. So on that note, have a good evening for everybody, or a good morning soon if it's morning where you are. And, you know, you can stay tuned to Terra Virtua's socials at Terra Virtua Art, and we'll have more announcements on you know, releases from Matt, other artists, as well as any other AMAs and spotlights that we have in the future. So again, thank you everybody for coming in today.